listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy. あなたの脳でオンエアを聞いている。プログラムは間もなく始まり、楽しみだろう。
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson, and happy 250th, ladies and gentlemen of the United States of America, and happy lavender marriage to Travis and Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been keeping alert on social medias, whatever, I do my best to stay off it, especially during the weekend. I like to give myself a little bit of a break, but it's unignorable at this point. TikTok, Instagram, everywhere you go, everyone is trying to talk about Taylor and Travis because apparently it's more interesting than anything that has happened ever, including the nation's birthday. Listen, I still stand by my statement from the last few episodes that this is a massive ritual. A lot of their famous buddies, famous friends showed up in order to celebrate them, in order to celebrate their big day. I understand that. They are allowed to be rich. I'm not angry at them for that. However, the black eye event that this turned out to be, you know what I mean? The ritual events where celebrities give each other black eyes in order to show that they're a part of the same crew and whatnot. Like, okay, who is this person? Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. Like I said, they hosted the coverage from New York City. What's her name? Sherry O'Terry jokingly told them that she got a black eye during Taylor Swift's wedding. What the hell is this?
Wow. You guys, this wedding was fire. Wait a minute. Oh my God, funny story.
She's holding a glass of what looks to be Chardonnay or pure adrenochrome.
Oh my God, funny story.
Did you take a glass from the wedding? Is that from the wedding?
Funny story, you guys. Funny story. Listen. So, I'm doing a shot of Casamigos with, 1 second. George Clooney.
Oh, George Clooney?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You have a black eye.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I hear Shane Ross comes over.
Okay.
What is so funny about this event? Her face is fucked up. She just has a black eye.
I beeline to the dance. I wanted to dance. So I'm doing the work, lady. And all of a sudden, my shoe flies off. It's the back of the Hames sister.
No.
Yeah. And so she comes over.
Sister.
Yes. And so she comes over, Hames sister. And so she comes over, all natural, beautiful, and everything. And she's like, "Excuse me, Shelly, right? Listen, who are you here with, the bride or the groom?" And I go, I'm here with, how about Tay-Tay? And
This
then
is
she
not
says,
funny.
Tay-Tay, Taylor never mentioned you to us. How do you know her? And I go, how do I know her? How about Tay-Tay and me and her Tay-Tay's second cousin, Trina Arnold Papa?
What are they laughing at? This is the most awkward interaction I've maybe ever seen in my life. She is holding a cup of pure child tears. She is on cloud 9. Don't get her wrong. The majority of these people are tripping on drugs. We don't have any idea. We have no clue about it. They're doing ayahuasca together. That's what I believe this thing was. And you know what? It only is proven to me by the fact that they had Adam Sandler, of all folks, officiate the wedding. This pro-Israel son of a bitch that honestly should get just as much shit as any other pro-Israel celebrity, but he doesn't because he has this lens of nostalgia and like, oh, well, his movies were kind of funny, and it's like, well, no, his acting inherently wasn't the funniest. It was the characters interacting with the world around them. His commitment to the bit was maybe a bit funny, but in general, a lot of his movies are just flat out misses. He whitewashed, IDF soldiers with his one movie, Don't Mess with Zohan. And I'm just like, okay, he's very all about his Jewish cultural pride and whatnot, as per the usual with Ashkenazis like him. He did the Hanukkah song and all this sort of stuff. He was a big part of normalizing Jewish culture. Listen, I am against Judaism just as much as I'm against Catholicism. I'm not a fan of the Catholics because they like to pass children around. And the Jews do it too, unfortunately. They pass children around like candy. And listen, when they have in their text, and they perform the act of circumcision on a boy, and then the gentleman leans over and sucks the blood off of the tip of the penis rather than using like a, I don't know, maybe like a sterile cloth or something. That just reads to me as a religion that has pedophilia baked into it. And much like Christianity, I'm just turned off to that. I think that's a gross religion, and I think it's disgusting, and I think its practitioners, well, they're ignorant. They're practicers of a gross, disgusting religion. They don't realize the sin that they commit every single day, every time that they worship these demons and deities they don't understand. Listen, as a young Jewish man, he grew up in B'nai B'rith. We've talked about all of the nonsense that they're involved with. He is deep on this Jewish pride bullshit. It is just as concerning as like a white nationalist. If you don't believe me, people are all, oh, Christian nationalism. Christian nationalism is so dangerous and deadly. Yes. Can we agree on the idea that maybe any form of nationalism based around a religion, and maybe any form of these people serving as leaders or people who formulate opinions, celebrities, people in media that are just moving the numbers. Remember, these people have loyalties to deities. These people think they're servicing their children's right to enter the kingdom of heaven via their actions. They don't care what they do to you. They don't care what goyim they ignore or, quite frankly, hurt in their pursuit. They are just as bad as any sort of Christian nationalists. Jewish pride is just as bad as Christian pride. They are disgusting. They're both institutions that need to be decimated, just the same with Islam. Any other form of organized-based religion, I find it to be, it's desecrant to the idea of humanity. It's awful. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to go any further because Adam Sandler, watch his movies, do whatever you want, but understand he's doing what he can to manipulate you and get your money. That's all you serve. You're not real to him. You're not a real thing besides another Netflix viewer. Is he going to be nice to you if you see him in an IHOP? Sure, because you are the reason that his children live in the nice homes that they do. You are the reason that, and he understands that, and he fundamentally is like, listen, I have a nicer relationship to the goyim than a lot of people. I'm not like Seinfeld, where I'm not gonna hug you, or I'm gonna be like, no thanks, I don't know who you are, I don't know, and all that. You're gonna be really uncomfortable with people. You can do whatever you want. You can say that he's nicer. It's great. I'm fine with that. Doesn't change the fact that he services the New World Order just like the majority of his friends do. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to cover Paul Pelosi. Paul Pelosi, speed demon. What else can we call him? He's a husband of the former House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Is that another title we can bestow upon his name? He's facing recommended a misdemeanor hit-and-run charges following a car crash in California's wine country. This is not his first instance that he's had with the law. Notoriously, we had the footage of his scuffle with his gay partner, which resulted in a hammer attack on him that one time, like about 3 years ago now. And listen, he is a speed demon. He is one for being behind the wheel of a car when he was 16. He killed his brother, his 19-year-old brother. His brother was like, hey, you might want to slow down the car, right before he careened it, and then proceeded to kill a member of his own family. So listen, he enjoys being on the road. He likes throwing back a couple of drinks before he does that. And listen, okay, according to Napa County Sheriff's Office, the 86-year-old was driving his brown convertible on Yount Street in Yountville. Oh my God, this sounds fake. When he allegedly slammed into a legally parked unoccupied vehicle and left the scene. Oh, listen. He is partially the reason that 86-year-olds have the reputation they do behind the wheel. All right, a witness who spotted the crash immediately dialed 911, prompting local deputies and California Highway Patrol to search the area. Law enforcement quickly tracked down Pelosi roughly a quarter mile away, where his convertible sat partially blocking the road with heavily disabling front end damage. Authorities reported that the impact to the parked car was severe enough to push its right tire up onto the curb, causing major structural damage to its rear. When questioned by deputies responding to the scene, Pelosi reportedly admitted that he knew he had struck something, but told officers that he kept driving because he wasn't entirely sure what he had hit. Could have been a person, but he decided it was smarter to take off. He continued down the road until his vehicle completely became disabled and could no longer move due to, the structural integrity damage. The sheriff's office confirmed that no alcohol was a factor in the collision. He was just an old fuck. That's it. Noting that Pelosi registered a 0 0.00 on the preliminary breathalyzer test. Because no injuries were reported, Pelosi was not arrested at the scene. Deputies have referred the case to the Napa County District Attorney's Office for this misdemeanor review. Officials have also referred Pelosi to the state DMV for a standard driving reevaluation. Reevaluation? Take his damn license. A common procedure for elderly drivers involved in accidents. A spokesperson for the Pelosi family has since issued a statement noting that Paul Pelosi has personally apologized to the owner of the vehicle and has promised to fully cover all of the repair costs. Listen, he's not even the biggest crook in that family. His wife has made, quite frankly, millions of dollars off of insider trading. Believe it or not, Trump has made more in just his first year off of cryptocurrency and all his nonsense than she has in her entire career of inside trading. Listen, Nancy Pelosi is a crook. She's a criminal, but let's remember that, when it comes to financial crimes, she was good at keeping it under the radar. She was good at skimming some off the top for years on end, to the point where people just noticed it, gave her shit for it in public, but it was a small sect of the American public. Now the United States, and also she never went for the high position. She never became president. She decided to steal taxpayer money in a position people rarely think about. Speaker of the House, who gives a shit? And then people were just like, all right, whatever, she makes a little bit of money on the top, and nobody ever called for her resignation. Some people that were a little more aware on either side, not really on the left, but really on the right, because obviously every side is a little more willing to criticize the other. Every side is a little more willing to excuse the other's issues, even though the sides are just something that people buy into so that they can sleep at night and feel like they're doing something when they can't reckon with the fact that they really just all support pedophiles equally. At this point, they just can't reckon that. That's okay. Let's hear a little bit about Paul Pelosi and his issues that he is having. And listen, if he needs advice, I'm not passing the bar in California anytime soon, but maybe if he wants to transfer his case to Minnesota.
Nancy Pelosi is preparing to retire after nearly 40 years in Congress, but this week's news isn't about her politics, it's about her husband. Paul Pelosi is facing a possible misdemeanor hit-and-run charge after authorities say he crashed his convertible into a parked car in Napa County, California over the weekend and then drove away. His car eventually broke down not far from the incident. Now, investigators say Pelosi told deputies that he knew he had hit something but didn't know what it was. Now, the sheriff's office says alcohol was not a factor. Pelosi registered a blood alcohol content of 0, and authorities are recommending a misdemeanor property damage hit-and-run charge. A spokesperson for the Pelosi family says Paul has personally apologized to the owner of the damaged vehicle and promised to take responsibility for the repairs. Now, this isn't the first time he's been in hot water for his actions behind the wheel. He previously pled guilty to a DUI charge following a 2022 crash. For that one, he was sentenced to 5 days in jail and 3 years of probation, ordered to pay $6,800 in fines and restitution and complete a DUI program.
In Minnesota, they're notoriously light on drinkers and whatnot. They'll give you DUIs, don't get me wrong, out the wazoo. But they will get you behind the wheel of a car pretty soon afterwards. They'll do the interlock system if you really fuck up. But otherwise, Minnesota's pretty light on drinkers. I know this because I have a lot of drinkers, unfortunately, that I knew, especially as a child. A lot of people, I knew so many people with DUIs, my father's friends especially. He knew a lot of heroin addicts, a lot of people that used to get strung out in his house around me and whatnot. And they were very fun individuals. They were the types of people that had that, listen, they were itching the corner of their arm, the elbow, the divot and whatnot. They were itching that part of their arms a lot because the vein that they had been injecting had finally gave way and fallen apart. So now they were searching their arm to find another vein that was hopefully strong enough to stand up to another needle. These types of people, listen, I will say the heroin addicts are funner. That's not a word. I know people are going to get mad. They're more fun to drive with, admittedly. When somebody is drunk and they're driving you home a little bit nervously, you're like, oh shit, they're like swiving in between the lines and whatnot. When someone's on heroin when they're driving you home, and I've done this, unfortunately, I've been in the car with many people that have been on various substances because my dad needed a lot of rides home when I was a kid. So listen, when someone is on heroin, heroin, though, when they are driving you and your sister and your dad home after a long night of drinking, that he, listen, maybe he didn't think out how he was going to get his kids home at the end of the night. Whatever. It's just like, what else was he supposed to do? Not drink? All right, whatever. Now his friend is driving you home, his friend who shot up before you headed out, and listen, heroin addicts, you got to give them this. They are dialed in when they are dialed in. They know the lines. It feels honestly like you're driving in a music video or you're riding in a music video, because they take care of all the turns. They glide pretty smoothly. It's like you're driving a car in a hot bath in a weird way, where you're at ease. You know what I mean? Your muscles don't feel like you need to tense. When you're in the car with somebody who's drunk and they're driving, that you're tense. You're like, shit, I like got to make sure that I don't like tense up my spine, because when this guy fucking wrecks, I'm gonna fly out this window or some shit and I'm gonna break my legs and whatnot. I had no fear when my dad's heroin addict friend was driving us around. I actually felt a little more calm than if my dad were to drive us home. One time, we were at Lake Sacagawea, and my father had drank, like, a lot. We were hanging out with his friends, this married couple, and they were, like, I was terrified to get in the car with him. He was stumbling around. He was not really able to find his footing, and they were like, don't worry about it. So listen, he gets in the car, this truck at the time. My sister's in the back seat. I'm in the front seat, next to him. He's heading down the road. We are going from Lake Sacagawea to Watford City. To Watford. Just give me a second. Watford City, North Dakota. Here we go. It's about an hour 14, depending on which route you take. You pass through Mandry. Yes, I remember you pass through Mandry. Okay. So this was a bit of a drive, and I remember the entire time he was, ducking, weaving, and whatnot. I remember a few times I had seen his eyes fully closed for more than 5 to 10 seconds. It was a terrifying ride back home. It was one of those ones where you're like, am I going to make it back, and whatnot. My sister, thankfully, she was trying her best to sleep. Obviously, with the car jittering as much as it was, she was not able to sleep, but she was, trying to find some peace. And it went, we got home. I'll give him that. And, I can't give him too much shit. And I can give him some shit because he drove home with his children in the car when he was drunk. I can give him some shit, but I can't give him too much shit because, goddamn it, we made it home. And you know what? He did teach me a valuable lesson that night, that, like, no matter how intoxicated, I can probably get behind the wheel and, like, maneuver my way back to some recognizable spot. Not a scratch on me or the car. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. If you're in North Dakota, barely any sheriffs around, barely any highway patrol. They're not really, listen, you can get away with quite a bit more, unfortunately. The flock cameras are going to make sure that you can't hear pretty soon, but as long as you're on the outskirts, if you're in a city nobody gives a shit about, then you got a chance. You know what I mean? Those are the valuable lessons that I learned from my time in Watford City, North Dakota.
And way back in 1957, when he was just 16 years old, Paul flipped his sports car and killed his older brother while driving near San Mateo, that's south of San Francisco. According to a patrolman quoted by the San Francisco Examiner at the time, his 19-year-old brother David, who was a passenger, had apparently urged him to drive slower before the fatal incident.
Oh my God. Imagine your brother is like, hey, I think you're going a little fast there, and that's the last thing you ever hear from him. Jesus Christ. Well, Paul, best of luck to you. I'm so sorry to hear about that. It just sucks, you know what I mean? When your sibling dies and it's like your fault, it sucks. But like, best of luck to you. Best of luck to you. I'm glad that you're not going to be. Listen, you're embarrassing your wife a little bit, but you're not unfamiliar with that territory. Like, remember that time that you got caught with your gay lover, and then like here's the footage right here. I have the body cam footage. It was when this gentleman, a big fat guy with a beard, he tromped into your bedroom and was like, hey, we had a deal. We had a deal for $130. This is only $70. I gave you head and I let you come in my mouth. And then Paul was like, I don't think so, buddy. Listen, this is all I have right now. I can't. You expect me to drive 20 minutes to the nearest gas station? We live in the suburbs, you son of a bitch. I'm not going to town till tomorrow.
Now to another case of long-awaited video evidence just out.
And then he hit him in the head with a hammer.
Paul Pelosi, the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. It happened at the couple's home in San Francisco. We have to warn you, the video is disturbing.
No, it's awesome.
Here's Scotty Schwartz.
Let's see.
All right. Drop the hammer. It was a sudden attack.
See, when the door first opens, Paul opens the door and he's in like a pajama top, and then he's wearing just his boxers. Clearly these two were in a lover's quarrel. And then, okay, so then he's like kind of smiling. He doesn't want the police to be nervous as this big fat guy is trying to wrestle a hammer out of his hand. And then he's just trying to be like, haha, can I get a little help here? And then the guy finally gets the hammer out of his hand and then beats him in the head with it.
On police body cam. Tonight, the video showing the moment Paul Pelosi, husband of former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was knocked unconscious, struck in the head with a hammer inside his home.
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
He literally goes, everything's good.
Inside his home.
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Hi.
The hammer.
Nope.
Hey. What is going on right
I'm not getting any answer on call.
Bam. And then they tackle him.
According to newly released case evidence, the chain of events started around 2 a.m. October 28. Security video shows the then 42-year-old David DePape break into the Pelosi home. Minutes later, Paul Pelosi calls 911 with DePape in earshot. Cryptically trying to communicate, the intruder was looking for his wife, the Speaker of the House, without antagonizing DePape.
He thinks everything's good. I've got a problem, but he thinks everything's good.
He thinks everything's good because he's like, I'm going to tell your wife that we've been cheating, I've been sleeping with you the last 5 years, all right? I'm finally going to tell your fucking wife because you have not been paying me.
Okay. Call us back if you change your mind.
No. This gentleman just came into the house, and he wants to wait there for my wife to come home.
Do you know who the person is?
No, I don't know who he is.
No, I don't know who he is. He and I just, like, maybe we've seen each other at a gas station once or thrice.
Yeah. He has this, and he's telling me not to do anything. He's telling me to put the phone down. And just what he said.
18 seconds.
Okay?
Shortly
Okay.
after, Pelosi tells the dispatchers DePape wants him to get the hell off the phone and is disconnected. Moments later, 2 officers arrive for a welfare check to find DePape and Pelosi both holding a hammer, Pelosi also holding a glass. Pelosi rushed to the hospital with...
Pelosi was like, let's have a glass. My wife will be home in like, a couple hours. He's hoping to get him out of the door before then. But he's like, let's have a glass of wine and let's talk about
the
this.
skull fracture, while DePape told investigators he broke in to interrogate Nancy Pelosi.
So, I guess, what was your intention to go there to make her change her ways?
Well, I was going to basically hold her hostage, and I was going to talk to her and basically tell her what I do.
And hold her hostage and do what?
And talk to her, and she told the truth. I let her go scot-free.
Right.
If she lied, I was going to break her down.
The release comes.
If she fucking lied, I was going to break her kneecaps. You know what? I think he was going to ask her, do you realize that your husband's a cheater? And if she was like too surprised and whatnot, she was like, what are you talking about? Paul would never. He was going to break her kneecaps.
Petition by a coalition of press organizations, including NBC News, was granted by a judge over the objections of both prosecution and defense. Today on Capitol Hill, Nancy Pelosi reacting to the release.
I have absolutely no intention of seeing the deadly assault on my husband's life.
As her husband continues to recover from the attack.
Gotti Shorts joining me now. Gotti.
Well, at least we know that bang to the head didn't make him a better driver. We at least know that. That is, I'm a man of science, and I believe in verifying via the truth and what we know to be true. And I can verify this. I don't think striking yourself in the head with a hammer is going to make you any better at driving. We have the evidence through Paul Pelosi. Brother killer, cheater on his wife with men who hit him in the head with hammers. All sorts of things can define this man. I feel like the best thing we can just call him is a speed demon, because he loves to live life on the edge. He loves to live life in the fast lane, and I love you, Paul. Keep up the high spirits and the high energy. Maybe at the ripe age of 88 will you be in 2028? Maybe then you will be able to run for president and give this country the energy we've needed since the Clinton years, since we've had a child molester in the White House, and everybody just kind of pretended that he was just this weird sexual guy. You know what I mean? Everybody on Family Guy was making jokes about him being this kind of lover of commies and whatnot, but really he was raping children and whatnot, and everybody was just kind of like, our president is so goofy and he's so overtly sexual, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of the former presidents, as a matter of fact, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden, all these folks, they've shared a message for America's 250th anniversary. Now, look, I don't know why today news of all people. Listen, it's mainstream media, so of course they're gonna have they're gonna invite these child killers on. They're going to invite and when I say this, every president has killed children, and listen, it's fine for me to say that. It's just I think it's just a matter of fact. Clinton has not only killed them, he's eaten them. Bush, Obama, Biden, all the same, unfortunately, probably. This is how you become president. If you're mad about it, don't be mad at me. Trump has done the same. Does that make you feel better? Are you that, dedicated to one side that you need me to say, well, Trump has done it, so, everybody, it's okay if everybody eats children. It's shut up. You voted for somebody who's eaten a child. Everybody, they do that. Why are you mad at me for telling you the truth? All right, listen. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden have set aside the political divisions that, quite frankly, they're not that divided on very many things. They need you to think that they are, but in reality, a lot of these men's views are pretty much the same. It's let's kind of keep the status quo, try to make things a little better for our certain groups that we want to choose to focus on during our administration, and then whoever that be, and then we are going to move on and then have legacies and libraries built in our name while we're still alive. You know what I mean? We're gonna have time to tour them. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have pieces glorifying us and our painting skills or our wives and whatnot. These men are carbon copies of each other. It's just taken us all these years in order to see it. So, accompanied by their spouses, the former first couples appeared together in a public broadcast that it captured the country's attention, obviously, offered a nostalgic look back at an era of civic camaraderie. This is back in the era when we used to do the portrait unveils. Remember, we haven't done that since the Obama administration. Remember the Obama White House? They had Bush and his wife over, and they unveiled the presidential portraits, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. And okay, it focused a lot on America's enduring strength, the American experiment, national unity, blah, 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 blah. To ignore the fact that we're all Freemasons, ignore the fact that we're all servicing a new world agenda that is going to take away your freedom, take away your rights. Listen, regardless of who you are, we're going to come and we're going to influence your life. We're going to take away the feeling of small communities. Everything is going to be global. There's going to be universal basic income. There's going to be ID that is going to be on your phone. A universal ID, the basic ID, the digital ID, all of this stuff. It's coming into fruition. You're going to be transcending humanity. You're going to start getting surgeries with implantations in your brain that are going to you're going to get advertisements for Kentucky Fried Chicken when you're trying to it's just a brain chip. It's supposed to make you think quicker. But meanwhile, you're getting served ads because you didn't pay for premium. This is the unfortunate thing that we're leaning towards, and they've leaned us towards regardless. Regardless of what their personal politics are. They are going to be like J.D. Vance's. J.D. Vance will service this image as well, where we are being led into a future where the humans fundamentally are not going to exist anymore. We're going to be a new species. Observers have noted that seeing the leaders from both sides of the aisle embracing, standing side by side, has provided a striking, welcome contrast to the deeply polarized climate in recent years. Really, does this change anything, though? Does this really, just because Obama and Bush basically, listen, Bush was Obama 1.0, and Obama was Bush 2.0. They continued the war on terror on each side. Bush did nothing to clean up the mess that he made in the Middle East, and Obama did nothing but make it worse and expand it to Northern Africa. So listen, whatever you want to say about, and I guess into Syria, but people will get mad if I continue to be honest. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I, William Jefferson Clinton.
It's a time-honored tradition, 250 years strong.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
The American people electing their leaders.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
Presidents, an indelible mark on our nation's history.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
Serving their country, the highest office in the land.
Hi, Dad. What's it like to be part of the ex-president club?
Well, it can be boring when we're all together. No, it's an honor. There's a great camaraderie because we all shared something special.
We all shared the ceremonial dagger. They bring an 8-year-old into the Oval Office, and you're supposed to gut it there on your first night in. They say that it's to sacrament the blood. The blood, it cleans the floor energy. It washes out the spirit of the last administration. Therefore, you can lead forth the American people with absolute clearness of mind and the energy now of the youth that you have slaughtered.
Our nation's leaders each carrying the weight of those promises and the ideals of our founding fathers.
What was your favorite part about being the president?
You get to meet the widest possible cross-section of the American people. It made me...
Can we please choose another word besides widest? It sounds like you're saying whitest, and you're a black guy. Or at least, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people thought he was Hawaiian back in the day for some reason.
Less prone to think there's an us and a they.
You know, you can get up every day, no matter how bad it is, you can make something good happen for somebody. And that is a gift beyond imagining.
A gift beyond imagining. You can go down to the White House kitchen and there are bodies of children laying on the the cooks, they'll have it. You will come in there 5 minutes later and it will be like it'll be like a cow was deconstructed in that place. They will have fillets, they'll have legs, they'll have anything you want to eat for dinner. You can have any cut of the child you want. I gotta tell you, the muscle in particular from the upper torso is absolutely delicious. Hillary was a big fan of the heart.
These formers, as they are called, remembered for leading our country through some of our greatest challenges.
What do you think was the most historically significant moment of your presidency?
9/11.
9/11.
Easy.
The rest of the world hears you. I think historians will analyze that day, America's response after that day. But I think people want to know how the country responded, and it was overwhelming volunteerism, starting with the military. It was an outpouring of patriotism. We can recapture that. I hope it doesn't require a crisis, but it's still latent in the American soul.
How do you hope the history books see your service?
You know what I love about Joe Biden? He continues to rock the really high socks. Next time you see an interview with him, just clock how high his goddamn socks are. He gets all his suits custom tailored. So, like, the pants, they really, when he sits down, because, he's tall, he only has it covering, like, half of his lower legs. So he has to invest in these massively long socks. It's kind of calling back to the age of when men used to wear the socks that went all the way up to the lower thigh, and then the pants only went down to like about the knee. That's what it's calling back to.
Well, I hope it's not only to see your dad's and your grandfather's service as generated by making sure everybody got a shot.
We got a shot.
Just say, look, Joey, everyone's entitled to a shot. Everyone's entitled to a shot, guaranteed.
250 years later.
That's one small step for man.
Quite a few moon landings faked, you know what I mean? This country's done a lot.
A nation tested.
I have a dream that I'm gonna cheat on my wife and steal white people's money. I have a dream of socialism based on race.
That endures.
You ran on a simple yet effective principle, which was hope.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that hope in our country?
I do. The first time I was on the national stage and I talked about hope.
Hope in the face of difficulty.
I reminded people hope is not blind optimism.
The audacity of hope.
Hope, it arises in the face of difficulty, in the face of uncertainty. And obviously we're going through some uncertain times, but when you look at the sweep of American history, we've gone through rough patches, and we tend to come out on the other side of them stronger.
The beauty about democracy, Jen, is that it's self-correcting. And if you don't like what's going on, vote. And that's how America heals itself.
That is, sure, yep.
Next chapter filled with the same.
If you don't like the child molester that's running the country now, just wait. You'll be able to vote for another one in 4 years.
And determination on all sides. to hold close to the principles that built America and made her strong.
As we're celebrating 250 years of our democracy, what message do you have to Americans?
Remember what's best in us. The basic principle upon which this country was founded, which is we don't have rulers, we don't have kings or monarchs or aristocracies, we have citizens.
Don't give up on them.
Yeah, and some citizens have a lot more money, and some citizens have a lot more power, and those citizens can do whatever they want to the other citizens without any expectations of there being any sort of preliminary investigation, whatever. It'll all get tossed out as long as you just, you know the right people.
Monarchs or aristocracies, we have citizens.
Don't give up on America. We're the longest lasting, freely elected government in history. And a lot of people didn't think we'd make it this long.
Agreed. We should not give up on this nation. We should clean it out. We should maybe reevaluate some things. And we should make sure that the ruling class is not stalked by people that would rather have sex with children more than their own wives. I really think that that's key. That's key to understanding what makes a good government. I'm not saying that, listen, our government, is it good right now? I mean, it's better than a lot of other governments, but it's not great. It's pretty good. It's not, that's, you have a house, but the foundation, it's got some rot. You just got to figure it out. You got to figure it out from there. You know what I mean? It's, you just gotta.
I think it'd be a good thing if we made it longer. So everybody should be thinking about that this year. Do I want to make it longer? Because if I do, then I have to be willing to lose as well as win. We're the most unique country in the world. The most unique country in the world in the sense that we really do think democracy is dictated by the rules of the Constitution.
My message is consider yourself fortunate to be a part of a great nation and be a citizen, not a spectator, but also love a neighbor like you'd like to be loved yourself. See, one of the beauties of this country is that there are thousands and thousands of citizens who volunteer on a daily basis to help somebody in need. They're often not heralded, but they make a huge difference one person at a time. And I would hope people will take a look at our history and realize we're an imperfect nation trying to be more perfect, but be optimistic about the future of the country.
Agreed. Listen, I can agree with a child molester. It doesn't mean that I have to approve of their behavior, but sometimes a child molester looks at you and says, we're building a nation, hopefully, so that the next generation can live better lives. And I go, yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. However, we're going to have to protect the next generation from you.
We should know that the History Talks event traditionally features former presidents to talk about their legacies. The History Channel is also working with President Trump on an America 250 project, which is expected to come out later this fall. Guys?
Well, thank you, daughter of the Bush, W. Bush, actually. He has 2 twin daughters, I believe. That's his only children I'm familiar with. Okay, let's talk about a little bit of random things. Why not? Did you know that fireworks that fly or explode are illegal in Minnesota? Listen, Minnesota, they're notorious for liking you to have a good time, but not too much of a good time. These are the people that, listen, they have the most lakes. They don't want you to get drunk on them. They don't want you to go kill people. They don't want you to run into beaver dens with them. Unfortunately, listen, let's talk about places where apparently, I'm just going to say this. We still light off fireworks. We don't care what the laws are in Minnesota. Quite frankly, they don't apply. Honestly, when's the last time you saw anybody really get arrested for lighting off a firework? Unless it was something like in a public place that almost killed somebody, probably never.
Did you know that any firework that flies or explodes is illegal in Minnesota? And if you bring fireworks into the state from, say, Wisconsin, you could face up to a $3,000 fine or a year in jail. But events like the Red, White, and Boom have the permits. So maybe skip going to a different state and head to Minneapolis for the 4th of July. They'll have food trucks, dancing.
Fuck off, you fucking loser. This is just an ad for Minneapolis. They're like, why don't you skip the nice time at the lake with your family, lighting off your own fireworks, doing something that actually takes a little bit of effort on your part? Why don't you just get your slobby, gross, fat fucking family into the car and drive down to the Minneapolis whatever, like State Fair or some shit. We have dancing, huge fireworks on display. display. Like, literally, this sounds like it's an event for toddlers. What are we talking about?
And a huge fireworks display. Or try St. Paul's Red, White, and Boom. They'll have a bunch of vendors. You can even listen to a concert at the St. Paul Cathedral.
Can you imagine living in a city for the 4th of July and being that faggy to where you're like, you don't have the room, you don't have the ability to leave. Like, you're trapped in a city where, like, oh, the most that people have to look forward to is Red, White, and Boom. Red, White, and Boom. They like, you'd rather watch a snake or a sparkler go off. Any of that sounds preferable.
And of course, they're going to have a phenomenal fireworks display. Both of these events are free. Our intern Katie has been working tirelessly.
They're free, but you pay with your dignity.
On a list of more than 100 fireworks displays across Minnesota. So just head to wcco.com/fireworks to see what's happening in your community. Or give us a call and let us know what we missed. Check for updates online.
Don't have fun. Don't be interesting. Don't do your own things. Be a stupid goyim. Ladies and gentlemen, that is from the news. Supergirl is a flop. Let's get more into the world of the goyim. Let's get into the world, unfortunately, of the James Gunn DCU. So, I think it was 38 million opening weekend. Wow, that's rough. Listen, if you don't know movie numbers, theaters keep roughly 50% of ticket sales. A movie generally needs to make 2.5 times its production budget at the global box office to even break even. And I don't know what the budget was for Supergirl. I'm pretty sure it was if my mind estimate is correct, it would be like 100 million. Supergirl budget. Oh god. 170 to 175 million. Okay, I guess with how much Superman made last year, I guess he can justify it. But with only less than 40 million at domestic box office, that is a travesty. That's really bad. That is really bad flop territory. I'm pretty sure it's worse. Is it worse than Morbius and the Marvels? Is it okay? Yeah. Yes, Morbius made more, and the Marvels also did make more. So this is really bad. Listen, this does not bode well for the James Gunn DCU. I'm not saying that this is not ending territory, but it's getting to that area to where people would go, I don't even know that James Gunn, he was an executive producer on this. He kind of had a hands-off role with it, and it seems as though if he doesn't have his name directly tied to a project, it seems to get a lot less love and attention from the studio. That's just something that I read. Maybe the fact that the studio project, people that they put on this, the director's a nobody, the screenwriter was a nobody, I'm pretty sure, or at least had a few movies that flopped before this. It's adding up to make sense that this movie did not do well. Clips look bad.
The latest comic book adaptation from Warner Brothers and DC Studios, falling short of expectations its first week out, earning less than $50 million domestically so far, and now could potentially lose $100 million, according to Variety. The flop raising questions ahead of what's usually a summer blockbuster weekend. Can America not handle female superheroes, or is there something else going on?
Wonder Woman was great, made a lot of money, broke like the $1 billion mark. I think that we need to drop the excuse of female movies not doing well because women are in them. I don't exactly I don't think that lines up as well as you think it does. Because quite frankly, a lot of the audience that showed up for this was men. A lot of it, unfortunately. A lot of the comic readers and whatnot tend to be men. There are some women in that audience and whatnot. But I know a few women. None of them were excited for this movie. I know women who went to see Superman last year, and they were not excited for Supergirl. They did not know the appeal. They didn't understand what it was about. The ads themselves did not make it look interesting to them. So I'm not. Listen, you can blame it on the people that are just like, oh, I don't like a movie that's based around a woman. And for sure, there are people on the internet that are putting out those ridiculous comments and whatnot. But exactly, those people wouldn't have seen it anyways. Those people probably didn't even see Superman anyways. They probably aren't even a fan of a lot of things in general. They're pretty hateful people. So listen. Supergirl did not do well at the box office. Whether or not you want to blame it on racism, sexism, it's more so sexism because people are going to try to pull a Hillary Clinton effect on this because for some reason they're not willing to accept the fact that, name one thing that you know about Supergirl, the character. The majority of people can tell you, name one thing about Superman. Clark Kent is his secret identity. Name Supergirl's secret identity for me. Name Supergirl's origin story. Name one detail of it. If you're a little familiar with comics, maybe you can tell me she's like born on Krypton. She like watched it get destroyed, but like that's about it. For a lot of people that are like not even deep in on the Superman stuff, they are even less familiar with Supergirl. So you had this like C tier character. If we're being honest, D tier. Unless you're a deep comic book person, you don't know Supergirl. You've never watched a show about her. I know that the CW or whatever had a show for a while. You don't know her though. You're not familiar with Clara. What is Supergirl's name? Kara Zor-El. Okay, her secret identity and alias Kara Danvers, or Linda Lee Danvers in various comic book runs. Okay, who cares? The thing is, who cares? She's not remote. Like, I have gotten nothing from watching the trailers. I've gotten nothing about this woman except for the idea that she likes to drink, she likes to hang out, she likes to just kind of do whatever typical shit, and I'm like, okay, she seems like a teenager in her 30s. Like, that's just an embarrassing character to watch. That's not really anybody that I feel like the need to watch. Whatever. It's kind of like if you're gonna do like this Pineapple Express type movie, but with like a superhero, I'd be interested in that. But like she's gonna learn a lesson by the end, or like whatever. I think that she's gonna be a little more advanced. I've heard people compare this first movie to like the Thor of this new DC universe, where a lot of people don't like the first Thor movie. I think it's fine. You know what? It's good. I like when he's in the coffee shop and he's like, I like this drink, and then he goes another, smashes it on the ground. It's funny. It's a funny movie. It's not bad, but it's dull in certain spots. I agree, because you take this Norse legend god and you put him in this little small town. It feels a little, it's just like held back, but whatever. Okay. Whether or not you like Supergirl as a character, you probably don't. I don't know if anybody... Name one person who, like... Does anybody know anybody whose favorite superhero... Like, any woman. They're going to choose Wonder Woman over her any day. Not because her movies are better. I don't know if Supergirl has any movies besides this one. But it's just because Wonder Woman, she's like she's a more interesting character. She has, like, inner conflicts. She has selfish moments. Gal Gadot, I don't care if she's a Zionist. I don't care if she wants to spill Palestinian children's blood. She's a decent actress as Wonder Woman.
Can America not handle female superheroes, or is there something else going on?
Her performance in a vacuum is fantastic. It's just unfortunate that the movie itself is a vacuum.
Coming after last year's reboot of Superman, Supergirl follows his lesser-known cousin, Kara Zor-El, played by actress Millie Alcock.
My cousin and I have very different ideas about what it means to be a hero.
The production, and Alcock facing flack before its release, with some fans making fun of Alcock's appearance online. Even former Superman actor Dean Cain replying he laughed at the insults.
And there's been immense scrutiny, not about her ability to play the character or about her performance, but of her appearance, which simply doesn't happen in the same.
Well, okay, let's have a little bit of fun. The last Superman that they chose, he looks Jewy. Okay, that's funny. It's a little funny. He has those like little curly cute. His hair is noticeably curlier than any other Superman that we have had. I would just like to make mention, like, obviously you can tell David Cornsweat's a Jew when you look at him. He looks Jewy. That's kind of funny. All right, whatever. And then yeah, she has a bit of this like overhanging forehead. She has kind of like this like, it's not the most attractive face, but she's like a Sydney Sweeney type. Sydney Sweeney's not the most attractive face. She's just dopey with a good body. She's dopey looking with a nice, decent pair of tits and an ass. That's why most men like her. Most men, they are kind of face blind. They just focus on a woman's body. They don't really even, I'm just going to be honest with you. This, like, Millie Alcock, is that the woman's name that plays Supergirl? She has a decent looking body. She's not an unattractive looking person. Her face isn't a winner. You know what I mean? It's not a 10 out of 10. It's more like a 5 or 6. It's not listen, I'm like nothing to, I'm nothing. I'm gonna just put myself out there. I'm not saying that like, oh, she's shit and I'm so much better. I'm like zero. Like, just put me out there and people would absolutely decimate me on the scale. I'm not saying this out of pride or like, oh, she's a woman, she's got to look better. I'm saying like, that's just how she was born. All right, cool. Doesn't matter. It's just how people are just born and they look a certain way. All right, that's fine. It's whatever. She probably plays the girl who flies around really well. Who cares?
Way for male actors in this space.
The actress telling Vanity Fair that her role on the Game of Thrones prequel House of the Dragon prepared her for some of the hate, saying, quote, simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. Adding, quote, we have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies.
Well, no, it's no. You are an actress. Do you realize that we have the same fascination and we have the same, like, judgment over John Cena's body? I look at men and women objectively. If you are an unattractive woman, or if you have a little bit of weight on you, or if you're a man and you're unattractive, if you have a bit of tummy, I want you off a fucking movie set because you're not good looking. I don't think that you realize the business you got into. We're going to be commenting on your appearance every day for the rest of your life until you die. You did not make your brand because you're this interesting mind that makes people fascinated by your takes, or you go out there and you really are just like, you're an author or something. No, you're an actor. You win me over with your performance and your visuals. That's all that you are. You are not a person anymore. You have entered Hollywood. And if you don't like that, or if you don't understand the relationship that people are bound to have with your role now in Hollywood, you're retarded. You need to get with the program. This is not anybody else's fault except for you. Do you realize that when people see an attractive female or male form, they think, okay, that's great, good, put that person in a movie. And when they see somebody that's like a little, maybe not the most attractive, Sydney Sweeney gets shit for it. She's not an attractive white woman, but she's still getting brand deals everywhere. You just have to deal with, like, backlash. You gotta deal with people saying shit. And if that's like, oh, it's because I'm a woman, it's because you're a body, you are meat, you're not a real person anymore, you've sold your soul to Hollywood, you're not a human being anymore, you are just something to be evaluated, critiqued, and looked at, and gawked at. You're not a human being. And if you want to be treated like a human being, you're not in the right business for it. Sorry, sister.
And the growing chorus of critics setting up a debate about misogyny and the current state of media. It's been decades.
Listen, I am a misandrist and I'm a misogynist. I hate men and women. I think they're both overrated. I think, honestly, the way that men can get all in their heads about the idea of being a protector, being all, it's ridiculous. And the way that women get in the idea of, we make all the life and we're just these ethereal beings that are more intertangled with emotions. They're all up their own asses. They all are. It's fine. It's fine. We can recognize that human beings have flaws.
Xena Warrior Princess.
Xena Warrior Princess is cool.
Heroes haven't quite slayed at the box office.
All of the standalone girl movies are not good and not well handled, and that's a real bummer.
With Supergirl,
Wonder Woman's great. I can't think of any other ones, but Wonder Woman's fine.
Movies dominating over the past 2 decades. There are really only 2 with heroine leads: Wonder Woman in 2017 and Captain Marvel in 2019.
And Captain Marvel was not good. It just had hype.
Supergirl hit theaters. Other narratives emerged.
Okay, I'll say this. The Harley Quinn movie should have made more money. I thought that one was fine. It was like Deadpool for girls. All right, that's great. And, it was fine enough. I like, there are a lot of these movies that have female leads that are fine enough superhero movies. But guess what? I've never watched a male superhero movie besides maybe like a Batman film. And that's because Batman is a very particular character and he's very well used by a lot of directors. But otherwise, I'm not watching any other, like, a Superman movie. Get the fuck out of here. Like, the only reason that I went to really go see this newest one is because it had a little bit of hype behind it. I like the Lex Luthor actor, and people said good enough things about it to where it won me over, where I was like, all right, this is worth going to see with my family. And it did. You know what? It was fine enough. Was it the greatest Superman story that I had ever seen? Yeah, on screen, maybe. It's debatable. It's up there because it's like, okay, there are some major issues that I have with the storytelling, the clunkiness of the way that he's been fighting Superman for years now. Well, you should know that, and you shouldn't have to say it in the scene, but I get that you're just trying to fill in the audience for exposition. It's clunky in some areas, and admittedly, I don't love David Cornsweet. He's not my favorite Superman that we've gotten. I just because I think he's too innocent in nature, in a sense times where I don't think that Superman needs to be this dark character like Zack Snyder took the angle on. I think that he can be this decent mix of somebody who's maybe not all the way a naivete. You know, he's got some level of familiarity with the world. Apparently, this version of Superman that we were seeing has already been around for like 3 years. Okay, I still feel like he should have a little bit more of a gruffness to him, a little bit more. Not that he has to lose his nature around being kind towards everybody and believing in the good in every person, but that he has to have a little bit more of a spine. He has to maybe not get his ass beat in every fight that he's in. I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal critique that I have, and I think they can make the character better. Whatever. Supergirl is flopping.
Rotten rating. Slammed for its writing.
Ooh,
with one popular
rotten.
reviewer calling Supergirl a, quote, heroine rendered powerless by scriptonite. And audiences generally haven't been gravitating to superhero films quite as much in recent years, no longer dominating the silver screen like they did just a few years ago when Avengers Endgame shattered records with a $1.2 billion global debut. And Black Panther brought Marvel one of its best opening weekends ever. This ends today.
Black Panther sucked. I'm sorry. It was Lion King told with like lanky black dudes in like those latex costumes. I don't care. It was awful.
The conversation is more about superhero fatigue than soaring successes. Last year, only 2 superhero movies broke into the top 10 at the domestic box office.
And Fantastic Four sucked. I didn't like the Fantastic Four. For the new one that came out last year. Fuck, not yesterday. But it was bad. I didn't like it. It wasn't even because the Vanessa Kirby character, the Sue Storm, was like kind of the main actress. She was kind of the main center plot. I don't care if you have a Sue Storm-centered movie. It's fine by me. It's that you misuse a lot of the characters. You don't have them do very much that's interesting with their powers. You don't have a very interesting story to tell, and you just kind of give me this flat structure that I can't really get that emotionally attached to. It has its own issues. If it's free on Disney Plus, give it a watch, I guess. But otherwise, Pedro Pascal is flat. He's not a Reed Richards to me. I think that the original Fantastic Four movie's better. I'm gonna be blasphemous. I like the original Fantastic Four movie better than this new one. I don't care. I think it's better.
Just 5 years back, when action flicks grabbed the top 4 spots, including Black Widow, which squeaked into the pandemic-depressed leaderboard.
If the superhero genre is going to continue, it has to be better than this.
With some highly anticipated superhero releases on the horizon, time will tell if a woman hero will swoop in and save the day.
Make a good one, and then people will go to see it. That has been proven by the Wonder Woman plot that we had a few years ago. It's been proven by the Captain Marvel one, which wasn't even a good one. Just make one that it gets people interested. They want to go see it. As who's an interesting? You can make a Catwoman movie. We haven't done a Catwoman movie in years. I know that people are nervous because they had that awful one from 2004 that I know quite a few people that actually enjoy it. I know that they're heroin addicts and they're crazy, but that's just it's their lives, not mine. Who am I to judge? Those people enjoy that film. It's not for me to take away from them. Listen, if you want them to drop another female heroine movie and you want people to like it, then do that, but make it decent, put some effort into it, and choose a character people want to go see a movie about. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see a movie about MKUltra, but they're never going to make that movie. And if they do, it's going to be washed out and lame. So let's talk about our final story. Experts are breaking down the secret allegations. In Congress right now, we have the CIA testimonies going on right now, lawmakers convening a special task force to dive into Project MKUltra, top secret. 20-year long is how long they like to tell us, but it's been going on forever, and it will continue on in the background as we're talking right now. There are MKUltra experiments happening right now, from Catholic churches all the way to secret underground bunkers. It's all over the United States. It's all over the world. And expert witnesses are testifying that the project wasn't just a policy failure. It represented some of the most extreme unauthorized human experimentation ever conducted by U.S. government officials. During the hearing, investigative journalists, historians, they all have painted a picture of the program, which ran officially from 1953 to 1973. Experts detailing how CIA officials systematically subjected American citizens, prisoners, and hospital patients to high doses of LSD, electroshock therapy, and physical torture without their knowledge or consent. It was launched out of a desperate Cold War era panic that the Soviet Union had already mastered brainwashing techniques, which they have. They have sleeper agents, they have sleeper cells, all these people. They live in the United States among you, probably in your own neighborhoods, leading to the United States intelligence, leading them to believe that it was absolutely essential for them to put everything on the table in order to catch up. So the central focus of the hearing that we're having now was the massive cover-up that followed the program's termination. Lawmakers highlighted how CIA officials ordered the total destruction of MKUltra files in 1973, leaving historians to piece together the horrors from just a few misfiled boxes that accidentally survived. However, the head of the declassification task force, Representative Anna Pauline Luna, dropped a bombshell announcing that the CIA is currently in the process of reviewing and declassifying a set of newly discovered MKUltra boxes that were recently coming into light. Listen, it was completely upended. They declared it a failure 50 years ago after they figured out how to do it. They figured out how to do it in order to base it off of sex trauma, radio waves they are working with, all of these sorts of things. Unlocking secrets of mind control. Experts are warning now that lawmakers that the threat is far from over. Witnesses are testifying that with rapid modern advancements in artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and brain-computer interfaces, the temptation for secret services to manipulate human behavior is higher than ever. They do it still. They urged Congress to maintain strict oversight, arguing that absolute government transparency is the only way to prevent these dark historical chapters from repeating themselves. They are asking for something that the CIA knows. If any of the stuff they've been doing over the last 4 years, public water experiments, like mass mind control with waves in the air, the entirety of this agency would go to jail tomorrow if we figured out everything that they were doing. If they were figuring out the tap water poisoning that's going on across the country, if they were figuring out the mind control with scanner waves and whatnot, with air manipulative particulates that you can get into your bloodstream, they would listen, it's micro level mind manipulation that they have mastered. Let's take a look at this clip.
Stephen Kinzer is a historian, journalist, and author of Poisoner-in-Chief, Sidney Gottlieb, and the CIA's Search for Mind Control. Tom O'Neill is an investigative journalist who authored Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. And Elizabeth Genexi, did I say that right, ma'am? Genexi is an independent consultant and former senior program officer at the National Institute of Health. We look forward to hearing what you have to say today on this important subject. Pursuant to Committee Rules 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise their right hand.
There they all go.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that the witnesses answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You may now take your seat. We appreciate you being here today. Let me remind the witnesses that we have read your opening statements, and it will appear in full in the hearing record. Please limit your oral statements to 5 minutes. However, if it does go over, we will not be gobbling you out. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it is illuminated and members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you again will turn green. After 4 minutes, the light will turn yellow, and when the red light comes on, that means that your 5 minutes has expired, and we will ask you to please wrap it up. I would now like to recognize Stephen Kinzer for his opening statement.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to this task force for confronting the enormous issue of overclassification of government documents and the culture of secrecy that enables it. I'm especially gratified by your interest in MKUltra, the project the CIA carried out through the 1950s in an attempt to find the secret of mind control. MKUltra was one of the most secret government programs in American history. The chemist who directed it, Sidney Gottlieb, lived in total anonymity. My book, Poisoner-in-Chief, may be the most complete account of MKUltra that exists in public, but I'm painfully aware that I have discovered only a small portion of what MKUltra was and what Sidney Gottlieb did. In 1951, the CIA hired Gottlieb and directed him to launch what became MKUltra. Gottlieb believed that in order to find a way to implant a new mind into someone's brain, you first had to find a way to destroy the mind that was in there already. In its search for ways to destroy a human mind and body, MKUltra conducted the most extreme experiments on human beings that have ever been carried out by a U.S. government agency. By any standard, they qualify as medical torture. These experiments took place in prisons, clinics, and safe houses in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, and even in Latin America.
In people's homes, too.
Officers of MKUltra were authorized to travel to foreign countries, preferably those under formal or informal U.S. occupation, and ask the local CIA station to provide them with expendables, human beings who would not be missed if they disappeared. Gottlieb had what amounted to a license to kill issued by the U.S. government. Neither the number of MKUltra victims nor the number of those who were experimented to death is known. Gottlieb, as a result of this license to kill, might have been the most powerful unknown American of the 20th century. Some information about MKUltra spilled out during the 1970s, but senior CIA officers had intentionally let Gottlieb operate without supervision, so they were able to claim that they knew nothing about his excesses. This was a way for the CIA to deny its institutional role in MKUltra and to portray it misleadingly as the product of one man's sadism or excessive zeal. Investigating MKUltra is challenging because when Gottlieb and his mentor Richard Helms left the CIA in 1973, they illegally ordered that its records be destroyed. Soon afterwards, under DCI Stansfield Turner, a CIA analyst, as you pointed out, Madam Chairman, discovered a cache of MKUltra documents hidden among financial records. Turner credited that analyst with doing a very diligent job of Sherlock Holmesing. That same diligence, I believe, could bring results today. One of the great mysteries of MKUltra has to do with the death in 1953 of an MKUltra scientist, Frank Olson, who had announced his intention to quit the project. His plunge from a New York hotel room was described in the press as the suicide of an Army scientist. He was not an Army scientist. He worked for the CIA, and evidence suggests that his death may not have been a suicide. So there could be hidden documents that could illuminate this case. I would also point out that in addition to searching for unknown documents, this committee could do a tremendous service by simply asking for the end of redactions on the documents that we now have. There are reams of documents about MKUltra that have heavy sections redacted. In the 1970s, this was justified by the argument that it had only been 20 years since these terrible things had happened and revealing details might affect national security. Now 70 years have passed. That argument can no longer be valid. So I would urge this committee to try to fill out all the blank spaces in the documents that we have, because we know that is there. This task force could also consider trying to determine whether some new incarnation of MKUltra exists today. When the main phase of MKUltra drew to a close in the early 1960s, Sidney Gottlieb concluded that it had failed. That in fact there is no such thing as mind control. Even if he was right, however, he may have been right only at that time. In the many decades since then, there have been enormous advances in cyber technology, in artificial intelligence, in neuroscience. Covert agencies may have access now to tools for mind control that Sidney Gottlieb could not even have imagined. It may well have been true in 1963 that mind control is a myth. Or whether it's still true is uncertain. And that question of whether mind control might now be possible under our new circumstances is something that has presumably occurred to scientists who work for secret services, including our own. This task force has a chance to connect the past to the future. A renewed effort to find MKUltra documents from the 1950s and to fill out the redactions of those that have been released might shed new light on how the CIA operated during that period. It could also inform a new inquiry into whether any mind control projects are now underway inside the U.S. security apparatus. That might help prevent the emergence of a 21st century MKUltra that could be even more destructive than the original.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue on this, as we get more clips and as the testimonies continue to come forward, I'll bring you more. You know what I mean? We have to talk about this. We are Americans, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed today's collection of stories. I had a wonderful time gathering them for you. I hope you had an even more wonderful time listening to them. If you want to be here for the rest of this week's news stories, we will be back at it again Tuesday through Friday. Subscribe if you want more, like if you liked it, ring the bell for notifications. In the meantime, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening. I'll talk to you in the next broadcast, and bye-bye.